It's usually difficult to convert spiritual energy into physical form, let alone create a puppet, but this divine puppet technique can achieve it. Hanju quickly made a judgment, and this secret technique of splitting the soul is also rare, essentially providing an extra pair of eyes and a puppet-like vision, which means one can be made for each person, so if danger strikes, they can be saved. Although the puppet can't defeat enemies, it can take up a position and assist in rescue. While deep in thought, he again recalled those embarrassing scenes. Thinking of this, Hanju shouted, "I'll make 10. But he underestimated the difficulty of making the puppets. The difficulty increased, and disappointed sounds echoed in the cave. Oh no, why did it break again? Then came the sound of a stone mill and an incredulous scream, why did it crack? Hanju was not discouraged at all. Despite having failed many times, he decided to try again. I don't believe it. Thus, after 2 years of hard work, the first person he wanted to see was Huang Hongchuan. She was sitting and reading when she was suddenly called, "Miss Huang, this puppet is for you." Huang Hongchuan turned around and saw a plush toy exactly like the one Hanju had, feeling very surprised. Hanju shyly said, "You can store it in your spatial ring, and you'll need to carry it everywhere you go. At a critical moment, it will save your life." Chang Yu and I also received one from Hanju and was very fond of it. So cute, thank you, junior brother. As for Shi Quan, she simply took it and immediately ran off, leaving her alone with the puppet. Shi Quan silently looked at the puppet. Since the divine puppets were almost a failure, Hanju once considered creating an army, but he found that controlling the puppet's soul energy required separation from the soul and had a great impact on cultivation. So, he decided to stop. After much contemplation, Hanju decided he could no longer delay his cultivation. The system reminded him again, it's already been 2 years, which can be considered a significant amount of cultivation time. Now you have the following choices. Hanju sighed, I didn't expect 2 years to pass so quickly. The 2 choices given by the system were, 1. Continue cultivating quietly as before, 2. Cultivate with prominence. Hanju thought after reading it, cultivate quietly, then emerge as a peerless genius and be believed only by the demons. The system reminded him, you have acquired a 4th grade spiritual treasure, Cold Lord Lioli Crown. Hanju put on the new item and thought, another defensive spiritual treasure, the system really knows me. Armed with spiritual treasures from head to toe, no one below the void realm can threaten me anymore. He wore the 4th grade Cold Lord Lioli crown on his head, but it was still considered too small. Overall, Hanju's equipment consisted of a 7th grade Golden Cicada Mystic armor, a small Qiankuan belt, and 5th grade 9 stars spirit stepping shoes. Su Qi, who was nearby, admired him greatly, saying, Senior, you look even more handsome with a new hair ornament. Hanju corrected him angrily, it's a royal crown, not a hairpin. But for Hanju, these things weren't important because magical treasures are ultimately just external items. To become stronger, he still had to rely on himself. I haven't cultivated for a long time. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. The Grand Master of the 9 tripods set sail with a group of disciples. Chang Yu and I cried out on the ship, Junior brother, how can I live without you? Hanju still did not go overseas with the 9 tripods, he simply saw everyone off, saying, safe travels. After sending off Chang Yu and I and the others, Hanju thought, the Grand Master of 9 tripods has left. I wonder how long I'll have to guard the sect. System, check who the strongest person in Yuqing sect is now. After Hanju asked, the system replied, Li Qiolong. 5th stage of the divine transformation realm, heir to the Poison King. This name stunned him for a moment. He searched through his memories and finally recalled, Mo Zhu mentioned this person. Someone discovered Li Qiolong's cave dwelling. She went on and on saying that she heard he almost achieved the divine transformation realm in his lifetime. And the things he left behind must be extraordinary. Such an opportunity would be a pity to miss. But Hanju felt something was off. Li Qiolong, why haven't I heard of his master? The 5th stage of the divine transformation realm is top tier in the great Yen cultivation world, and wherever he went, it would surely cause a huge stir. His thoughts soared, he's a traitor. In the Qingjing sect's main hall, the announcement was made, this month, the disciples of the elite class can enter the secret hall of the ancient forbidden land. Relevant disciples, please remember to register at the secret hall so you can cultivate in peace. She continued speaking from a high position. Although the Grand Master of 9 Tripods has left, he has left us many opportunities. Everyone, don't waste the Grand Master's efforts. Li Qiulong, in the crowd, smiled and thought to himself, finally, this old 7th Master has gotten his chance. He was considering the next steps. Calm down, there is still one person who will obstruct me. Before executing the plan, I'll take care of him first, the most mysterious person, the Elder of Divine Slayer from Yuqing sect. In the ancient forbidden land, at this moment, Zhou Fan was in an extremely weak state. His heart was filled with anger. Zhou Fan, will I just endure this? No, my life is in my hands, not fate's. He collapsed in front of a mysterious purple-black object, surrounded by withered bones. Thinking of this, Zhou Fan struggled to break free from the shackles that bound his feet. He successfully reclaimed his life from the so-called fate. Zhou Fan's entire body was wrapped up, like a butterfly in an unbroken cocoon. 5 years later, the system issued another notification. Xianqing Jun has comprehended a divine ability, Mo Fu's. Hatred has fallen into the devil's path, and the Chaos Heavenly Dog has comprehended its innate divine ability. Grand Master of 9 Tripods has encountered the Demon King, and his Tao heart has been damaged. Hanju sighed after reading it. 3 seconds of silence for the Grand Master of 9 Tripods. Too bad he met that falling star. Another notification shocked him. Your friend Zhou Fan has successfully broken through and achieved earth-shaking results. Sitting there, looking at the message on the bulletin board, Hanju was stunned. So many things had happened in 5 years. And suddenly, a sense of unease surged in his heart. Hanju trembled and said, no, if this continues, they will surpass me. The system was checking. Yuqing sect has not discovered Li Qiulong's whereabouts. Seeing this, Hanju breathed a sigh of relief. He's already left. Fortunately, he didn't do anything. I still need to focus on my cultivation. I've been distracted a bit. It's time to fight to the death. 2 demon beasts, a chicken and a dog, saw Hanju's aura and couldn't help but worry. How many times has this been for him this year? 3rd time, I've hardly seen him rest. The black-eyed chicken sneered, sitting for too long is bad, it's no surprise cultivators get hemorrhoids. Su Qi, confused, replied, Senior, you're amazing, you actually dare face hemorrhoids. 10 years later, Li Qingzi appeared, shouting, Elder Han, are you there? It's me, Old Li. Hanju responded immediately, Sect Master, please wait, let's talk somewhere else. By now, he had broken through to the 8th stage of the divine transformation realm, while Su Qi remained hidden in the misfortunes of others. Li Qingzi spoke, Elder Han, long time no see, you've made quite an improvement. Hanju politely responded, I'm curious, Sect Master, what brings you here? He looked dejected, like a squeezed bun, and said, the righteous path is holding a large-scale cultivation conference. Elder Han, are you going? Hanju thought to himself, a cultivation conference, just the name tells me it's a place where things go wrong easily. So, Hanju answered without hesitation, I'm not going. As soon as he said that, Li Qingzi blocked him with a large hand, this conference will be held in the royal capital of the great Yan dynasty. Attending will earn human race fortune, and there's nothing but benefits for cultivators. Hanju hesitated and said, I'm not going. After the ancestor left, the other forces probably know by now, you should understand what I mean. Li Qingzi sighed, I knew you would say this. Since that's the case, I won't force you. Don't expect me to bring back the fortune for you. Truly, I am in awe of you. Hanju brought up another topic, and what he inquired about was Li Qiulong. Li Qingzi's face darkened, how do you know about that wretch? He began to explain what he knew about Li Qiulong. He was once my junior brother, a once-in-a-thousand-years genius, the pride of Yuqing sect. But both he and Guan Wugang liked Fairy Huiguan. The two once fought a life-and-death duel, forcing my master to intervene. He sighed, but Li Qiulong was audacious enough to scheme against my master. Fortunately, I acted in time and prevented a major mistake. But he was cut off from his meridians and imprisoned at the self-reflection cliff. Later, he escaped, and before leaving, he left a letter saying that one day he would return to destroy Yuqing sect. After hearing this story, Hanju couldn't help but sigh. No wonder Master doesn't allow disciples to fall in love. Then he returned to the present. Li Qingzi asked, but why did Elder Han suddenly bring him up? Hanju answered honestly, I met someone in the inner city who claimed to be a disciple of Li Qiulong. He was trying to recruit others, and he invited me too, but when I went to find him, he disappeared. Hearing this, Li Qingzi nervously brought his face close to Hanju. What? He's here? What does this person want by recruiting others? Not knowing whether Hanju was serious, he said he had caught a fish and found a note inside the fish's stomach with something written on it like General Amnesty Rising. Li Qingzi was covered in cold sweat, his voice trembling. General Amnesty Rising, he wants to overthrow Yuqing sect. Immediately following was an earth-shattering roar. Even the birds in the trees were startled and flew away. Elder Han, you must catch him, remember to be careful, don't kill him. After speaking, Li Qingzi quickly turned and left. I need to inform the junior brothers and sisters, let them be prepared. Elder Han, take care. The system also issued a notification, likely due to an unexpected event, which surprised Hanju. Sect Master Li Qingzi invites you to attend the Cultivation Conference. Option 1, reject and continue. Cultivating, receive a spiritual treasure. Option 2, agree and leave the sect with the sect master, receive a high-grade spiritual stone. He immediately laughed and said, this system is incredibly slow. By the time it reported, the invitation had already been rejected. You have declined the sect master's invitation. Congratulations on receiving a peerless spiritual treasure. The Book of Misfortune. Hanju thought in surprise, what? Peerless? The Book of Misfortune as a spiritual treasure can curse living beings, bringing misfortune, and the target won't even notice. Looking at the scene in front of him, Hanju thought to himself, I've never seen such a spectacular treasure opening scene. This treasure looks like a book, and when the owner opens it, they will have their wishes fulfilled, while the cursed person will suffer prolonged misfortune. Hanju sat on the ground, arms crossed, thinking, the Book of Misfortune truly lives up to its name. It looks like it's definitely not a good omen. It's sealed with so many books, it should be a real killing book, maybe like Su Qi, it brings misfortune to others, cursing them. A young boy who was sweeping the floor with a book suddenly noticed him. Su Qi stared at Hanju blankly, her eyes wide open, her cheeks slightly reddening, suddenly feeling very close. His face filled with murderous intent, his eyes flashing. What did you say? Su Qi was startled and quickly begged for mercy. The little boy was so scared that he ran away. Sorry for disturbing you, senior. Hanju did not chase after him, but silently stood and watched. It's interesting that they can still sense each other in such misfortune. He wondered, but the items from the system are only the cursed books of misfortune. Won't it curse people to death? He didn't think much more about it and immediately bit his finger. Forget it, I'll just use my blood to claim it first. The book was covered with talismans, and Hanju dripped his blood onto the most prominent one. His blood slowly soaked into the already worn-out talisman. The talisman immediately emitted a beam of light, illuminating the entire area. At the same time, a purple light appeared from somewhere and enveloped Hanju, but it didn't attack him. He opened the book. Xiao Yi is the #1 enemy, I can't, his cultivation is higher than mine, it definitely won't work. The curse won't be discovered. Even though the system says this, I still feel it's untrustworthy. Hanju suddenly thought, even if he's on the same level as Li Qianlong, he still can't defeat me, let alone this person who plans to overthrow Jade Clear Sect. He showed a fierce expression and sneered, without you, Jade Wu Peak might have been taken long ago. In a desolate forest, a few birds flew in the sky, passing through the ethereal clouds. A waterfall cascaded down from a high place, with the water becoming more turbulent. Li Qianlong knelt in front of a small hut, pleading with his master to descend the mountain. His master refused. I have long detached myself from the mundane world and no longer participate in the struggles of the cultivation world. Your vengeance must be avenged by yourself. Li Qianlong was sweating profusely, frowning. Please, master, teach me the divine pill. His master still disagreed. What if you poison me with it? Wouldn't that be a death for nothing? He gritted his teeth and cursed. This old dog is still guarding against me. At this point, his master explained, the 9-tripod true man has already discovered my presence, so I cannot offend him. But if you want revenge, you can go to the great Yanwei family in the cultivation world. The Yanwei family has many connections. I hope you understand my meaning. Li Qianlong immediately understood. He walked while complaining, this old fool made me create a medicinal body for so many years. How can I say I'm the only successor of the Poison King, and yet he didn't even pass on his skills to me? Li Qianlong said some harsh words. Wait, I'll come back and settle the score with you. Suddenly, lightning appeared in the sky, possibly due to his karmic debts. Before Li Qianlong could finish speaking, a bolt of lightning descended from the sky and struck him. On one side, the sun was blazing hot, but where Li Qianlong stood, the sky was pitch black, with thunderclouds constantly releasing lightning to strike him. Meanwhile, Hanju silently looked at the old book, which was covered in talismans. He muttered, it's been cursed for so long, but there seems to be no reaction. Could it be a fake? Yang Tiandong happily showed his achievements. Master, I have not let you down. I have already become a core disciple. The swordsmanship you taught me is truly a masterpiece. Many people can't even handle the first move. I plan to participate in the Immortal Cultivation Conference to establish a reputation for Yuqing sect. Can you teach me one more move? Su Qi, hearing this, immediately became curious. Could you be the senior brother Yang Tiandong that was mentioned by the elder? He scratched his head and awkwardly smiled. Upon hearing this, Hanju immediately kicked Yang Tiandong down the mountain and shouted, does the master oppose me going to the Immortal Cultivation Conference? He explained, I'm afraid your luck will affect you. The following year, Hanju finally broke through to the great perfection of the Transformation God realm. He thought, once I enter the Fusion Void realm, the efficiency of absorbing spiritual energy from heaven and earth will triple, but other people's caves cannot absorb spiritual energy. This would be unfair to Su Qi. Keeping him trapped in the cave is not a long-term solution. Where should he go in the future? After thinking for a while, Hanju spoke, Su Qi, come here. I have something to say. The little brother immediately obeyed and quickly approached, asking, what is it, senior? Hanju set a condition, you have been at Yuqing sect for many years and are on the path of cultivation. I will give you a task. If you complete it, I will take you as my disciple. Su Qi was overjoyed and replied, what is the task? I will certainly live up to your expectations, senior. He pointed at the little brother and made a request, I want you to go to North Continent. Hanju's face became serious, join the Demon Slayer sect, focus on cultivation, and then act as my inside informant. I will come to the Earth sect to pick you up. Su Qi couldn't help but marvel in his heart, what realm is the Earth sect? The senior is really too powerful. The little brother excitedly shouted, I will definitely complete the task. Hanju reminded him, this is a confidential task, you cannot tell anyone. Go quickly. Su Qi immediately left. The little brother raised his hand to greet the sunlight, after so many years, I didn't expect the senior to finally let me go. The sunlight filtered through the gaps in his hand, and Su Qi thought, I thought I would have to surpass the senior's cultivation first. I am ready to stay there for a lifetime. I will definitely complete the master's test. The little brother scratched his head, and at that moment, Su Qi suddenly remembered, I haven't asked where the North Continent is. Hanju's strange face, his eyes red, stared at the book full of talismans and yin-yang patterns. At this time, on a mountain, the sky was dim, and the atmosphere was cold and mysterious, surrounded by strange creatures. A huge monster appeared, its body round and fat, its mouth like a giant vortex, causing everything around it to shake. In the chaotic smoke and dust, Li Qilong was sweating profusely, his face tense, afraid to face this terrifying creature.